All right, all right, all right. We are live, I do believe. It's been a little while. It's been many months, in fact. So I'm glad to be back. I've actually been looking forward to this for a little while now. I've been talking about wanting to be more consistent and do all these kinds of things. Oh yeah, I am a minute late. Of course, always late. Good to see the Generate crew hanging out in chat. Kyle, Christian, Jake, Taylor, thank you all for being here. You guys already know why we're here. Anybody else that's joining, say hello in the chat. Give me a little thumbs up on the stream, and we're going to jump into this here in just a little bit. So, of course, I haven't been around on the stream in a while, but I have been sharing. Yeah, surprised you're awake, Taylor says. It's an early morning today for me, that's for sure. Normally wake up to about 85 messages in the group chat, and I just scroll the last couple to kind of see what's there and then move on with my morning. So woke up to I spent some time with this update last night. Is the video in 10 FPS or is it just for you? Oh no, it says it's buffering. Hold on, let me change something. Checking. Let's go to, let's do this. Okay, and then let's see here if it calms itself back down. It did give me a warning that it's buffering, so let me try to fix this real quick. Yeah, computer is, it's the same setup I've used pretty much always. Oh yeah, it is giving me a warning about dropped frames. That's weird. Let me see. I just turned it down and it's so weird. I don't, let me know if it's any better now. The quality looks good, but yeah, I see like the frame rate isn't the best. Open widget. Stream health. Poor. Error. YouTube is not. I don't know. Yeah, it does look a little choppy. Fine after refresh. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting a green signal now, so we are good to go. Now it looks worse. Of course, Kyle. We're going to roll with it. I did turn the bitrate down a little bit and stop the recording on my side, so hopefully it's all good. Anyway, glad to see everybody joining. We got some people popping in here. John, hello. Taylor wants it in the highest quality possible. I know, buddy. Me too. I've already shared that, of course, a number of you in here know why we're here. So yesterday, after many, many moons of waiting, we finally got an update to GenerateBlocks. So this is the alpha version of 1.7, Pro 1.7, and then the alpha version of GenerateBlocks Free 1.9. Brings some really exciting upgrades and updates. There has been a lot of features that were, I will be honest, somewhat frustrating to use because of how good they could be. But the GenerateBlocks way is you wait, and what Tom and his team delivers is better than basically anything else out there on the market. I think it's fair to say. It's more stable. It's extremely well thought out. Rock solid, like I said, you just update, don't worry about it. And it's just so intuitive and easy to use. So I'm really excited about this update. If you're not aware, what's been released is GenerateBlocks Pro now has classes built right into it. So it is akin to Oxygen or Bricks or Quickly in that sense, where it has fully featured classes and the ability to manipulate those classes, add multiple classes. You could use different frameworks. There's all kinds of exciting possibilities. So I'm really, really stoked about that. Elijah, what's up, dude? Happy birthday. Glad to see you in here, my dude. It's funny, you know, on the leap years, you get robbed. It's supposed to be March 1st, but you had to wait an extra day for your birthday, dude. Sorry. He loves me very much. Shout out Elijah for all the hard work on PyCalendar. We got some pretty cool stuff coming. I'm going to spoil a little bit of it. Some of it is to do with advanced recurring rules, which is pretty dope. We are really close we're testing it right now. And then we also have a Gutenberg block. Those are both in development, and we're super stoked about that. PyCalendar is doing very well. Really, really awesome about that. Adam, good to see you, dude. Okay, so we are officially, Beard is getting nuts, dude. I know. Thanks, man. Classes. So much class, says WP Site Helper. Hell yeah. Elijah says you should show them the advanced recurring stuff. Definitely. If anybody wants to see that, I could quickly toss on the dev version of PyCalendar so you can see what that looks like. It's pretty dope. Of course, it's like pre-alpha, so we're not ready for public testing just yet. But if you're interested, let me know, and we can take a look at that. Today, of course, we're going to be doing GenerateBlocks stuff. We're going to be clicking and clacking. And of course, I hope you all have your drink in hand ready to go. You love the homeless chic look. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Taylor says, yes, show us. Also, shout out Taylor and Kyle and a couple of others for being members here on the channel for a while. Also, real quick, I want to shout out my newsletter. So while you're here, if you're not already signed up for my newsletter, it goes out each week now. We're on a 2-week streak, baby. Let's go. 2 weeks. Wow. It's pretty impressive. You can find that at the link in the footer on my website. So just go to jonathanjernigan.com, scroll all the way down, and there's a newsletter sign up button. I really appreciate that. And I've been enjoying it quite a lot. So it would mean a lot to me if you sign up there. Hello, Leonardo. Good to see you. So today, again, like I said, we're going to jump into GenerateBlocks, and then Taylor, stick around and we'll look at the PyCalendar stuff towards the end. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. Oh, actually, I was going to say, I intended to release a video yesterday. I haven't made this mistake in a while. I recorded like a 22-minute video after like the 4th or 5th attempt. I was pretty stoked on it, and it was kind of like a first look at GenerateBlocks. Went all the way through, opened up my editing software, and would you know, my mic wasn't recording. So you had my ugly mug in the video with no voice, which may actually have been a positive thing. Maybe I should have just released that, the no audio video. But it was incredibly frustrating. I was really upset. And after a couple hours of calming down, had some dinner and stuff, then I decided to schedule the stream. And here we are. So it's going to be better than the video would have been anyway. Rookie mistake indeed. Yeah. I could have done a voiceover. Yeah, it would have been like B-roll almost. Very, very frustrating when that happens. That actually would be really funny, Elijah. I have the video right here on my desktop. So that would be a great idea. Maybe like a bonus feature. All right, enough blabbing. I think all the YouTube notifications that are gonna go out have gone out. So let's go ahead and do this beast. Okie dokie. So I have a sample install here. Like I said, these are both alpha versions of GenerateBlocks, regular and pro. If you're a pro customer, you can download that from their website and kind of play with it yourself. But let's go ahead and take a look. We'll start with our pages. Yeah, so Kyle says, recreate what you did for the video live. Faux show. I'm going to do it. So the biggest thing is, oh, look at it right here. I'm already spoiling it. No, got to get rid of it. Go away. You can see I was playing with it. So the biggest thing is that when you add an element, a GenerateBlocks element like this container, for instance, right off the bat, we have this add or create styles functionality. So this is essentially just your classes on the site. So you can add a class name, anything you want. You can see that I was testing a class called a hero. And then there's a bunch of other sections that are in here because I added some of the default patterns that GenerateBlocks now ships with, which are really cool. We'll take a look at those in a little while. And then I, of course, created a couple of classes just to kind of test and play with this a little bit. And you can see I was playing with it. I do be doing that. So we have grid now as well. And right now the grid is available when you add a class to an element. So that's why I have this grid 3 and 4. Then we have our, I was testing out like a column span class just to kind of see how that worked. But this is really awesome. So let's go ahead and on this container, because I already have a hero class, I am actually just going to overwrite it. I don't think you need to actually put the period, but you can. I'm going to go ahead and just type in the word hero, and I'm going to click on create. I hope that at some point, maybe in the next iteration like Alpha 2, they'll change it. Since I already have a hero class here, if I click create, it prompts me to create a blank style. And so you can actually accidentally overwrite your class here. So be careful about that. I discovered that the hard way last night. I went to apply that class to a second section and clicked create, and it took me to this blank style thing. And as soon as I clicked that, it just wiped out my style. So that can be a little tricky there. So I'm going to go ahead and just update this so it's blank and refresh. But you can see that now here on my container, we have the .hero class. So if I were to edit this just as you're familiar with in GenerateBlocks, like in the past, let's say, I wanted to add 2 rem of padding on all sides to this container, then you'll notice that there's this block button here and it says it has local styles. So that's a nice indicator of what's actually happening, where the styles you just set are applied. Conversely, if I click on this hero section, you can see the interface changes just a little bit, but all the other, kind of familiar options are there. So for example, let's say we want to set this to a max width of like 768 pixels. If I were to go back and look at this element, you can see that I have this indicator here that says sizing is set globally, and it's going to indicate to me that that's set on the class, which is super freaking awesome. And if I click this, it's going to say what that property is. Oh, it went away when I highlighted it. What that property is, what its value is, and we can go straight to the source. If I hover over that, I actually didn't even know when I hovered this link that it gives us the hero class. So if you have multiple classes affecting different parameters, you're going to be able to see that really easily, which is honestly so dope. If I click that edit source, it's going to take me back to my class. Interestingly, even though it knew what parameter and where, it doesn't expand that section. That would be nice if it took me like right to this section. Maybe that's something that we will get in the future, but it's really nice to, oh, damn it. Urgh! I knew I was going to cover some shit up. That's so annoying. Why do we need my face? We don't. What I was going to say was, if I click on this little purple dot here, this is indicating that that's set at a global level. So we have this property max width and its value of 768. And then if I edit source, it shows me that class .hero, which is just super, super dope. Then I can click that and it takes me to that class. What I was saying though was I would hope that at some point maybe it will take us straight to this parameter, like expand the panel and then maybe even put focus in there. That might not be the best idea to set your focus for you, but maybe at least give you some indication, kind of point you in the right direction. So that's really cool. Let's see. Kyle says, don't try to bulk delete your classes. I haven't done that yet. I didn't know that. Elijah, I noticed they called these styles. Do they let you save non-CSS parameters, example controls that alter the markup? Kyle responds, you have to start with a class, which Thomas said is a temporary guardrail, but you can do compound selectors and select anything. Yeah, so the compound selectors feature is freaking lit, and that's what I'm so excited about here. We're not actually at that point yet, but actually we're basically here. So let's do that. What is the links tab after hover for? So if I hover over this, then it's the link selector. It just gives us the A. So it's the hero A class. And then if I do, A hover, it's going to give us the hero A link hover selector, which is super cool. So those are kind of the default ones that are built in. So hover and focus, the hero hover. So if I hovered on that container, what styles I want to apply there. And what I think is so cool about this is you can create your own. So this is really the most kick-ass part of this update for me, and something that, if I'm not mistaken, is not possible in any other builder at this time without writing the CSS manually. I don't think you can do this in like Bricks, for example, or if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Quickly or Oxygen can do it either. But we can click on Add New, and then I actually want to turn off this hover. I want to go back to the main selector here. And with this, let's add some elements inside of here. So we're going to add a container. We're going to add an H2 headline, example headline. We'll just do some paragraph text here, headline. And then we'll just say short text. And then we could do a button. And then let's check and see what this button, it is set as a link. So we'll change it to button temporarily because I just want to show this as an example. And then we'll just duplicate it so we have a couple of example sections here. Can you add classes to non-GB blocks? Kyle said yes. Really? So if I just do like a core paragraph, is that true? Check 1, 2. Maybe not core. Oh, I guess. I mean, I guess you could take the class that you create in GenerateBlocks and then stick it on an element. Is that what you mean, Kyle? I guess I probably should put myself even further over here. I wasn't sure if, Kyle, you meant that you can add the class directly to a non-GenerateBlocks element, or what the point was there. Okay, yeah, so you can take the GenerateBlocks class that you create and stick it on a core block and it styles it. Okay, so now what I wanted to do was go back. I actually had the hero class on this outside container. So what I could do, let's clear this block style. If I take this .hero, then we can build a compound selector here. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to target both of these headlines. So this would be pretty easy because, what did I make these, H2s? Yeah, this would be pretty easy. This does take quite a few clicks to get back to where I was. That's one thing that either I don't know how to do, or it's just, that's just the way it is for now. I kind of wish it saved your state here. Like if I was right here and I want to go check something and I click out of it, I don't want to have to come back and click it 4 more times to get back where I was. So maybe that's something that could be optimized in the future. But you could just say, you could just type H2, and this is a very simple example, but when I click create, you can see now our selector is .hero H2. So if I went typography to something like blue, or whatever, red, pink, something like that, then that one class on this one container is going to apply to all of these elements below it because of the inheritance that CSS rule applies to, which is really cool. But of course, it can get a whole lot more complicated than that. So let's see, what do we want to do with this selector now? Maybe something like, let's see, let me change what I have set up right here. Let's go to H3. And then what I want to do is on my hero class, I'm going to create a new selector, and we're going to say like H2 plus P, so a paragraph that immediately follows an H2 tag. From my testing yesterday, this doesn't actually work in the builder, but it does work properly on the front end. So let's say like to rem, and then our text color, let's just make blue so we can see it. And if I update this and take a look on the front end, then we can see that that does work. So that's really cool. This might just be a simple bug with the, whatever this is called, like the sibling. I forget, is this sibling selector? I forget what that plus is called, but this does work. And what's so cool about this to me is the level of kind of customization and complexity that you could get out of this in one class is really quite incredible. And my thought here was like, you could really style an entire section with one class. And I'm sure somebody is going to come along and point out some drawback and some reason why that's terrible and awful, and I'm an idiot for even suggesting that. But to me, that is so insanely powerful. The idea that for the most part, let's be real, we're not building sites for clients that are revolutionary. They all are following the same kind of fundamental layouts and purpose. They have the same philosophy and the same goals. So like across different sites, you could very realistically, you could just have like the content slapped into a hero section. You just drop that hero class on your container and boom, everything is just styled. I mean, it's really like, to me, it's just so badass. Yes, of course, I know you can achieve the same thing with multiple classes and stigma, blah, blah, blah. You know, if you've listened to any of my videos or heard me rant, or most people don't listen to me. Maybe that's the problem. Just kidding. The idea for me is I want to make this as simple as possible and the workflow as consistent as possible across all my different across all my different, websites, especially for clients. Elijah says some crazy ass selector. Yeah. Oh yeah. We also need to look at pseudo elements for sure. Also, we have, which is a nice change. We have, wait, where was it? Is it inside position? Where is it? I know for a fact, oh, here it is, the position property. That's kind of confusing. So on the block itself, when I'm not in the class, this is what I was going to point out, that before we only had the position property of relative in the default, I mean in the dropdown by default, but on the class, there's now a new position tab, and there's a bunch of other options here. So we have all the standard ones that you would want, relative, absolute, sticky, etc., and the ability to enter custom values, which is cool for all of these different parameters. So overflow X and Y. I mean, all the standard ones that you would want are just built right in there, which is super dope. I wonder how that will work with like the difference between the block tab, like the actual block styling, ID level versus the class. Kind of interesting that it's still in the layout default position. I'm sure they'll clean that kind of stuff up. Yeah, exactly. PP units. 124 PPs. Let's see. Mark says, can I use this to make my logo bigger? Asking for a friend. Actually, funny you say that. I feel like there's a lot that you can really do with this. Like, you could create classes that are styled in. I'm about to sneeze. You could create classes that are styled using the GenerateBlocks functions and drop them anywhere you want. There's also, I just feel like this has a lot of potential, like this whole class building interface. The other thing that I want to touch on real quick is the fact that we now have, hey, thanks, dude. You guys are awesome. Bless you both too. We also have native CSS grid. Now, there are some things that, this is not like the most amazing grid builder ever, but it is totally functional. So right now, you can get to grid by going to your class, going to layout, display, and grid, and then you can see it opens up a ton of other options here in our grid. So, excuse me. If we go to grid template columns, we can choose from some of the example ones here, which is really awesome. Or of course, if you want to type in your own grid template column values, you can do that. So we could just do a 3-wide grid. And then, you have all your standard stuff, column gap, 1 rem, row gap, 2 rem, whatever you want. So that is nice and legit. Pretty cool. If it hasn't already been covered, does anybody know whether when the GP starter sites are going to be redone with this new system? So from my understanding, there is a GenerateBlocks pattern system that we'll get to in just a little bit. Not sure how GeneratePress is going to be, though, affected with those because they're kind of separate. But yeah, I think Kyle's right. They'll probably just add new ones rather than redo them. So the other thing that's really cool about this functionality is that with these classes, like I mentioned, and kind of the sort of nested selectors here, you could start to target, elements inside of this this grid really easily. So if you knew that this was going to be a grid, maybe a better example would be like if we added, like a grid class. I already have one of these. So this is kind of going to apply what I was going to show you here. But if I go to grid 3, you can see in my testing yesterday what I was doing with this. Where did it go? Yeah, right here. So I have my grid 3 class, and then I was targeting the children divs, the direct descendants, these 3 containers right here. And again, here's what I was talking about. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get back to the selector you were just working with. But in that case, I just said, 1 pixel border and 8 pixel border radius on this. So that way I could style my entire grid with 1 class. Like, it's so dope. It's so cool. So then like in this H2, you can see that in that case, I made the font weight 700, the text transform is uppercase, and so on. Like, I think that's freaking awesome. I think that's so cool. Yeah, Bad Cat brings up a, let me back up real quick. Adam says, just to be clear, earlier when you were making compound classes like H2 and H2 plus P, these are semantically correct naming to target those specific elements and not just random naming, right? Yeah, Adam. So those are just targeting the standard, HTML elements in that case. And it's kind of interesting because if we go look at this, let's see, what would be the best way to go look at this? So like if I click on this, you can see that like the way that this is working is we have our main selector, which is my hero class that I added to the container. And then I added a custom selector on top of this called h2. So then that build, and actually just shows it right there when I hover. Then it's the class.hero and then any h2 inside of that class, no matter how many steps deep, is going to pick up that styling. So then this one here is very similar, except that it's only going to style the paragraph tag that is immediately after an h2, which in this case just happens to be like this, Or actually, I think it's this one. Are these all h2s? Those are h3s, which is why this, styling is different. It doesn't show here this styling on the back end, but this is what I was doing earlier when I switched to the front end. That like sibling selector must not be working in the back end at least. Adam says, so cool. Thanks for clarifying. Hell yeah, man. It's seriously badass as shit. Bad Cat says, draw grid overlaps. Kyle already answered that. Thank you. Yeah, h2 plus p will select only the p that immediately follows the h2. And that's exactly what I want with that selector. My goal there was to create one that it will have rules that apply for that specific section. So like if you knew on your hero container, then h2, plus p, you want to shrink that gap up, but everywhere else, maybe your h2 has, let's say 2 rem bottom margin, but in that case you want 0.5 rem, so that's kind of tightening up the spacing in your hero. You could do that with one class and not have to modify any other aspect of it. And then of course, the possibilities are endless. You could have a hero alt class or whatever you want. Things start to get fairly complicated. So there is like that balance of over engineering versus like, saving yourself a bunch of styling time. But I think that's pretty badass. Let's see. Looks similar to Sass when you see it nested. Yeah, it kind of is. It's similar in principle. Super powerful once you have the system set up. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Adam. Tilde selects any element that comes after, but doesn't have to be adjacent. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is there's so much power that you can do with just a pretty simple CSS selector. So I have my CSS course. I have this GenerateBlocks course. There's going to be some changes coming to all the content and the pricing and that kind of thing. So if you're not, like I said earlier, already signed up for my newsletter, make sure you do that. There'll be more information to come later once I've had some time to play with this some more and figure out what kind of tutorial content I want to show, what I want to create. I'm probably going to have a standalone GenerateBlocks course now that's going to focus on classes and some kind of like, site-wide styling type stuff rather than it being like a ground up rebuild. So we'll see how that goes. No matter how you add all the CSS in the builder, it will output it beautifully. Go inspect the page, JJ. Okay, let's do it. We don't need that. So let's go up to our container here. So this is the one that has the hero class that we added, and then there's the grid 3. And you can see there's our grid 3 with all of the properties I set. And then what else do we have? So like this is inheriting the styling from our rule. So grid 3 H2, that was setting it to, oh, it's actually the hero class here. Actually, this is kind of a cool example here. So this particular element, this H2 that I have highlighted right now, doesn't have any classes on it other than the standard ones that GenerateBlocks kind of creates and attaches to it. So then, because of the inheritance rules that I've created with the CSS on this kind of top level div, we can see what's actually happening. So the grid H3, grid -3, and then the H2 class then gives us the uppercase, the 1 rem, and the 700. And then our hero H2 gives us the color. Really, really cool. Just super clean, dead simple. Really awesome. And then the same thing is true here on this div. So I did a like a grid -3, and then the children divs, the direct descendant divs, and that's where you can see the styling here is applying the border styles, the radius, the padding, all those kind of properties. Pretty sweet. At least it's not littered like Tailwind. Well, that's kind of the other thing too, is like, I don't want to have to add 7 different classes to an element to get the styling that I'm after. I don't want to have to memorize all that shit. You know? It's just like, I just want to slap something together that works. It's a proven design. It does exactly what it needs to. It gets the call to action in front of the visitor, gets them to do whatever it is, pick up the phone, fill out the form, whatever. Like, that's the goal for client sites, is get them to convert as quickly as possible. And when you break it down, like, you don't need to over-engineer this shit. So if it allows me to save time by slapping one class on a section and the whole thing is just styled for you, like, that's so awesome. So awesome. Can you adjust the class order to adjust the specificity? Good question. I guess in the GenerateBlocks global styles screen. Okay, so if I click on this button, how do I do that? In the GenerateBlocks global styles screen, that's where I'm at, right? Go out of the editor. Oh, okay. GenerateBlocks global styles. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. That's awesome, actually. Hey, Brad, thanks for checking it out. Glad to see you, and let me know if you have any questions. Let's see. Set to draft. Okay, let's take a look at like one of these grids that I have some styles on. So if I display style, ooh, that's dope. It'll just let you copy the CSS right out of it. That's so sick. That is dope. So like, especially if you're someone that perhaps doesn't know CSS all that well and you want to see how it's working, like, this is amazing. Go style something. Yes, of course, you can do the same thing. You can pull it out of inspect, but like, this is way more user-friendly to see that written out, the class styles that are associated, or the styles that are associated with that class. Can I edit here? It doesn't look like it. No. That would be cool though. Drag and drop to reorder. So if I wanted my grid 3 to be up at the top, and Kyle, this affects the specificity as I'm dragging them here. It's pretty cool. What about, you said don't try to bulk delete? I'll delete my grid 4 because I don't think I really have that much on it. I would assume that'd get messy. Okay, Kyle says yes, it affects specificity. He confirmed that with Tom. I'm really excited for Kyle's live stream with Tom, the lead developer, founder of GenerateBlocks, on Monday. So we'll definitely be in the chat for that. Kyle, what time does it start? Oh, you keep saying don't try. I thought it was like the ability for you to do it, but you were just saying like don't do it because it's going to break your site or something. Not that it just flat out doesn't exist. Kyle schedules and immediately forgets what time. Let's see. I am on my YouTubes over here in the other tab. 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Central US and A time. Very nice. Okay. So let us see here. The next thing I wanted to take a look at, which is pretty cool, is the pattern library. So let's go back to our edit screen real quick here, and I'm going to just delete all this sample stuff that we have here. And if we click on the GenerateBlocks button, again, we have this pattern library. So this thing is really, really cool. I already did a little bit of tweaking, which is, well, I'll get to that in just a second. So these are all built using the new class functionality. And I learned through the grapevine that all of these sections, every single one is built with very similar classes. Like I think it's 13 total classes to style all these different things. So like, let's say for instance, we wanted a hero section. Let's go with like a fairly typical overlay hero, something like this. So we'll insert that. Ignore the fact that this is blue. It's not actually supposed to be like that. I just changed it. I'll get to that in just a little bit. The other thing that's really cool is we also have the ability in the pattern library to bulk insert. So if you're like, I want a hero, now I want, let's say like a feature section. maybe like pattern 68. Then we can go to our pricing. Let's stick in this pricing table. And you can see they're starting to compile right here, and you could even reorder them, which is really cool. Query loop, yep, we want a post loop. I actually haven't looked through these post loops. Let's pick one like this. This will work. And then we can insert all of them into our page, and ooh, they nested deep inside there. Let's move those down. And so there we go. We have our hero section here. The builder width is really narrow because my GeneratePress theme styles right now are just set to the totally default, so everything feels kind of compressed. But here is those sections, and like I said, they're all built with the classes. So like if I click on, let's see, where's going to be a class? There's not that many of them. It's interesting, like that one has GB section inner, and this one doesn't have a class at all. Does this one? So what is on? How are they doing this? Is that with the grid, I guess? Column container, block settings. Oh, okay. So it's just the grid, default standard like grid width. So you could do that with a class. But obviously you could still use the standard GenerateBlocks controls that have always been there. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to share, like if we click through these sections, you can see that this class is GBP section. They all share that same section class. And then now that I have these input, I actually want to go back to this panel here and just kind of look at what is GBP section even doing. So it's giving us top and bottom, 7 rem, 40 pixels left and right. It's got a media query for 1024. I don't actually even know what that is. Is that tablet? And then 768 just changes the padding. So a relatively simple class, but you can see that it's shared between all of those. And what's really cool about that is that, let's say for instance, we take this GBP section and we're like 7 rim padding top and bottom is way too much. Let's go 3 top and bottom, and then we're gonna go like 1.5 rim left and right. And then let's say like H2, this one is already blue because on this GBP section headline, I changed it myself because normally I think it's white, or maybe it's black by default, I don't remember. But let's say we change it to red for whatever reason, or you choose one of your GeneratePress global colors, which is what these are right here. Then let's make it something obnoxious. Let's go like neon green. Where's my neon? Like this. Let's make it hideous and disgusting. Then I can update this. I don't know if I have to refresh. Let's see. But if I go back to, gosh, there's so many clicks to get back to this damn pattern library. Then you can see I have my hideously disgusting and awful lime green headline. So this pattern library like picks up the changes that you make to those classes, which is really cool. Then also, of course, if I bring in a new section, it's going to have that GBP section, and we changed the padding on it. Let's bring in this team section down here. I don't like the fact that it doesn't just automatically nest it at the root level, but maybe that's just how it will go. We can take a look at this particular section, the team one we just added. GBP section, spacing, look at that. 3 rim, top and bottom, 1.5 left and right. Really, 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 really cool. I think that's just super awesome. So if you start to make changes to this pattern library, then it's going to affect all the other things and you don't have to do it again. And that really comes down to the fact that this is all based on these classes. I also heard through the grapevine that at some point we'll be able to add our own sections and you know, patterns into that library. I don't know when that's coming or any of the details on that, but my understanding is that that will be you know, coming at some point. So pretty good. Hopefully somebody picks up on that reference. Yeah, Kristen says that's massive. And you do have to update or the class doesn't save, but you don't have to refresh. Cool. That's exactly what I stumbled upon. I mean, this is pretty sweet. This is pretty good. I'm really, really thrilled with this. This is a big update, and I'll be honest that there are... Yes, Elijah. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. I didn't know you were a Curb guy. Such a good show. Oh my gosh. My brother tried to get me into Curb for like months, maybe even years. And I was like always turned off it because every time I would put it on, I like was always just so frustrated at how I felt like Larry's character and the other ones were always screaming at each other. And to some extent that's true, but oh my God, it's so funny, dude. It's just like unbelievably funny. I love it. I love it. So if you don't have any other questions on, oh God, this green is awful. This is absolutely terrible. I have to change this. I gotta make it just black for now or something. That's horrendous. If you have other questions or something else you want me to try, something else you want... Oh, I didn't look at pseudo elements. Let's see. So let's go with like this headline, and then let's go to, let's say like pseudo after. We'll create. Oh, that's so sick. So then our layout. I'm looking for position. We'll go to position relative, which I think is default anyway. Let's set the width to like 50 pixels, 50 height, our background. I just want to make a color because like what I was thinking I would do is make like a little badge that sticks off the end here. Maybe something like a little dark. I don't create pseudos that often if I'm honest. So let's see. Relative on the parent probably, and absolute on the after. Yeah, you right. Absolute, and then go back to our parent and position of relative. Go back to after, and then, oh, is there a content field? Where is that? Is that under position? Where is it? Content field at the bottom. Oh, sweet. I can just do like my little thingy. Yeah, there we go. So we'll just do like the little parentheses to make this pop in. But you could realistically, you could be like, you know, on sale or something like that. And then with this, we would want to make our font size maybe like, you know, 0.875 rem, something kind of small, font weight 700, text transform uppercase. We'd want to make this width bigger. Can I do fit content? If I spelled it right, I probably can. Content. Does that work? This looks pretty terrible. Maybe like 25. And then let's see. I guess I just don't want a height at all. Does fit content not work like that? I thought it would. Maybe it doesn't work because this is an absolute positioned element. It must not. So then you could go like 20, let's see. Is it 20 right? Oh, this I would want to be main spacing. No, sizing. Fit content. There we go. And then our after pseudo. So let's say, what if I try like a min width? There we go. That's more along the lines of what I wanted. Something cool, something simple like that you would actually use. And then we could give it a border radius, 8 pixels or something like that. Oh, on sale. Yeah, so this is cool. You can do all kinds of stuff like this. Little margin left. Pretty good. Very cool. Yeah, so that's a good idea, Elijah. I like making an absolute class that just adds position absolute, then adding a generic CSS class like has absolute and position relative. That's a good idea. See, that's the kind of stuff that you can start to do where like you don't have to build all these things manually. So like maybe you have like, careful putting text in pseudos though, because the screen reader won't read them out. So what's the proper way to do that then? If you wanted some, I guess you would really just want to use the pseudos for like styling purposes then, like not actual real content. Can you do a span? Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense. Pretty cool. Yeah, there's all kinds of different, yeah, pseudos are for decoration. Okay, cool. Maybe if I read the Accessibility Weekly. I did read them, to be fair. I just don't use pseudos all that often. Because I'm not a good designer, okay? I'm sorry. Woo woo! Supposed to be... Supposed to be up cooking breakfast or something. I say that all the time. I'm like, the phrase from that video, Elijah, that I say all the time is, yeah, I got it on my car. I love that video so much, dude. It's so good. Oh. Pseudos are awesome. There's a ton of different use cases for pseudo elements. And of course, you know, having the ability to absolute position and stuff all built right into the editor is really awesome. So I wonder who will be moving to GenerateBlocks now. Pretty cool. Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, it is very interesting, Elijah. I'm wondering like how many, you know, how many hundreds of thousands of people does GenerateBlocks have? GenerateBlocks plugin. 200,000 active installs. So I wonder how many of them will be, you know, using the this new functionality. Pretty cool. Let me pull up the 13 minutes left. I know, Christian. The Formula One qualifying session, the opening race of the season starts in 13 minutes. So we got a time crunch, people. I think there's a philosophical discussion to have around whether tools like this should be really recreating the advanced workflows of page builders. Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, this blends the line between like page builder, block package, and theme. Like, you could do almost everything. The thing is, like with GeneratePress as the theme in particular, I would not be able to live without the elements feature. Like, that's essentially your templates. So there's like, that's where I'm saying it like walks the line of page builder versus, you know, theme and all those kinds of things. I don't know that it really matters all that much. I think it's like semantics that don't really make a difference. Let me get the Pi calendar release real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Where is this restaurant? Where is it? I am the most miserable human alive. JK. Okay. Hopefully you guys don't see my nudie pics here in my downloads folder. Hear me out. What if elements was a feature of GenerateBlocks and could directly style HTML elements? I mean, you really wouldn't need a theme, because basically the only thing that I rely on like the elements for is like the template functionality, and then basically to handle my menu. Because other than that, I already create a footer element. I already create templates as an element. Like basically the only thing that it does is set my global colors and like, you know, handle my nav essentially. And that's it. I think that's what you call insane in the membrane. Hey, Paul. Glad to have you, dude. No worries, you're late. You can catch up later on. If by Gutenberg you mean the block editor, then that's just WordPress, not really a page builder. Yeah, because I mean you can't do squat with native Gutenberg. Like we know that. That's just no way. It's just not functional. I'm not a Gutenberg hater. I'm not a trash can Gutenberg type person, but like, let's be real. Elements handle the hook targeting because they're integrated with GP at the theme level. Yeah, that's true. The hooks are badass, definitely. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys, the guys and gals, I wanted to show you the latest version. Well, it's actually not released yet, but what we're working on right now for PyCalendar, which is advanced recurring rules. And then some other time I'll show you guys the Gutenberg block that's coming. So with the latest update, if we just edit this post, as you know, with PyCalendar, you can turn on the event. Let's just say it's going to be March 13th at 9:51 a.m. Hey, somebody did call you. Let's go, dude. I'm quickly deviating to an upcoming release of PyCalendar. But it's Thomas. Woo! Bat signal. Let's go. I'm gonna just quickly show you this. So now with PyCalendar Pro, in an upcoming release, you have this event recurrence where you can add multiple rules. So of course, the first rule might just be something like you're already familiar with. So the event will repeat every 5 days, for example. But now we can do multiple rules. And then the other thing you can do, which is really awesome, is you can set single dates. So if you want a specific date, so it should recur every 5 days, but maybe you have like an extra day somewhere in there. Maybe like, let's say, the 15th of March, you can do that. And then the other thing is you also have the ability to black out dates as well. So if I wanted to say like, this is going to repeat every 5 days and on that specific date, but I wanted this not to repeat at any point in April. I tested this before. Good luck, Elijah, and it didn't work. Live on stream, buddy. You signed me up for this, so here we are. We will just simply update this hello world post. Let's go back to our homepage. And then we'll stick in, for now, we're going to stick in the PyCalendar shortcode before the, actually, you don't even need the shortcode. You can just literally type PyCal like that. Literally. So then we can see we set it for the 13th. It repeats every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Here's our single recurrence rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, baby. And then we should see nothing in April. So yeah, the entire month of April is blacked out. Shout out to you, Elijah, for fixing that. Because like I said, last time I checked this, it was not working. So you can see how we're stacking those regular recurrence rules, the single recurrence rule, and the blackout dates. And of course, as I'm sure you can surmise from what I just showed you, the ability to stack all those together is going to give you a ton more flexibility when it comes to the recurring rules that we have available currently in PyCalendar. So check that out, pycalendar.com. Feel free to email me or our support if you have any questions. So I'm pretty stoked. This GenerateBlocks update is freaking amazing. I'm really, really thrilled with this. There's so much more to uncover, to build, to learn, to do, and there's a lot of content to come. Like I said, if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, please consider doing so. That you can find at my website, jonathanjernigan.com. Scroll down to the bottom in the footer, there's a newsletter sign up button, and enter yo details. I'm gonna be releasing newsletters every Wednesday morning my time. So far we're a couple editions in, and that'll be the way to stay in touch for cool updates and stuff like this. Yeah, Adam, that's my goal. 3 weeks, and then we'll see what happens after that. You never know. Maybe 3 weeks is all I need. So let's see, WP Site Helper. Does the class added filter out a leading comma if we accidentally add one? Great question. Let's try. We're going to say .example, create, blank style. Hell yeah, it does. Look at that. So there's not 2 periods. I would say that's lit. What is this right here? Oh, that minimizes that little interface window. Cool. I didn't realize that. Thought that was just like adding the class name, but it's not. Anybody have any other questions in this last couple of minutes before I dip out to go watch Formula One? Hopefully so. On a scale of 9 to 10, how stoked are you for this update? I'm going to give it a 10 for me. Your only options are 9 or 10, so it's not like it's a rigged vote or anything. Any other chat messages I missed? Let's see. Sorry, Tom. I should have shared this link with you earlier so that you could have joined us sooner, but feel free to watch it back. Yeah, that's why I said Tom's watching. Vote wisely. Jake says 11. There we go. That's the only other one that I'll allow. 9, 10, or 11. Hell yeah, 2 11s without even prompting. I will for sure. Awesome. Thanks, Tom. I'd love to connect with you as well. So far, out of everything, you'll see in the stream, I showed it. There's only one thing that I found in terms of like selectors and classes and stuff that don't work. But yeah, Tom says 12. Pretty cool. Thank you all for hanging out. My first live stream in a while. I always enjoy doing these. This is a really cool update, and I'm going to be covering a lot more content on this, as is Kyle on the admin bar, and I'm sure other creators out there as well. Adam, I certainly hope, Adam Wright Design on his channel, I hope he will be covering more, and we'll all see you in a future episode / live stream. And on Monday, the live stream with Kyle and Tom. It's going to be really great. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Always a pleasure. Until next time, bye-bye.